Hi, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about helping. So first, I want you to think about this. Do you know these organizations? What do they do? Please think about this before class so we can share. Now let's continue. How do you feel when you see homeless people? What do you do? Do you give them money or food or do you ignore them? What happens if it is a child? Think about this so we can share what we do during class. Now let's continue. I want you to please complete these ideas using your ideas. For example, if I had studied, I would have. If I lived in, I would have. And if I had met, I would have. Please pause the video so that we can share our sentences in class. Excellent. Now, think about this. If you had money, what charities would you support? And why would you support these charities? And also think, what things could you give up for other people? Would you give up, for example, your car? Or maybe your house? What about part of your salary? We're going to share all of this during class. Now let's continue. Let's go to student book page 53, exercise A. I want you to please circle the correct verb forms in order to complete the sentences. If you're not sure, you can use the article in the previous page to help you. For example, what would you do if you see or saw a homeless person? In this case, we're going to complete this with saw. Now pause the video while you work on the rest. Great, let's go ahead and check. The family may not have become so close if they hadn't moved to a smaller house. If Hannah hadn't seen the man in the car, the family might still live in the big house. Great job. Now, look at these sentences I wrote over here. Do they mean the same? When are these things happening? And are they real? Let's see. If I were a millionaire, I would help poor people. If I had been a millionaire, I would have helped poor people. If I were a millionaire, I would have helped poor people. Pause the video while you analyze the sentences. Okay? Great. So if you notice, these sentences, even though they are similar, they do not mean the same. And some of them are imagining the past or the present. So of course, these things are not real. Now let's go ahead and take a look. Look at the first sentence. If I were a millionaire, I would help poor people. Is this a present condition and a past result? Is this a present condition and a present or future result? Or is this a past condition and a past result? In this case, if I were a millionaire, I would help poor people is a present condition and a present or future result. This is second conditional, if you remember. Now, what is the structure for second conditional? Please pause the video while you choose the correct one. Okay, great. So, the one that you should have chosen is if plus simple past plus would plus base verb. Great job. Now, let's take a look at the third conditional. One more time, I want you to pause the video, find the use and the structure. Pause the video, please. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and check. If I had been a millionaire, I would have helped poor people is talking about a past condition and a past result. And for third conditional, our structure is if plus past perfect plus would plus have and past participle. Great. Remember that every time that we start with the conditional clause, if, we need to add a comma. And the last one. If I were a millionaire, I would have helped poor people. Please pause the video while you match the use and the structure. Okay, let's go ahead and check. So this sentence is talking about a present condition and a past result. If I were a millionaire right now, I would have helped poor people in the past. And the structure here is if simple past, would have, and past participle. Great. If you see, this is a mixed conditional tense. It's using part of the second and part of the third conditional. You could also do it the other way using if past perfect and then imagine a present result using would and base form. Now let's go ahead and continue. Let's go to workbook page 34, exercise A. Here we're going to read the biography of a billionaire. Then we're going to complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs given. Now pause the video while you read this. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and check. So these are the sentences we need to complete using the verbs in parentheses. For example, if the Georgia had listened to his teacher, he so successful. In this case, we are going to write wouldn't have become, sorry, might not have become. In this case, we're using a different model, might, but it is functioning as a would. Now, pause the video while you work on the rest. Okay, let's go ahead and check. The Georgia might not have been so successful now if he hadn't lost some of his jobs. 3. If he hadn't collaborated with a hairstylist, his products wouldn't have attracted the attention of so many salons. 4. If the Georgia hadn't become homeless, he might not have learned to care about other people's problems. And 5. He might not be so well known now if he hadn't been so generous with his fortune. Did you have the same? Great job! Now let's continue working on exercise B. Here you need to complete the questions with the correct form of the verbs given. For example, number 1. You confident now? Since we're imagining the present, we are going to be using would you be confident now if a teacher had said to you you will never be successful? And we're using here past perfect because we're imagining the past. Now pause the video while you work on the other question. Okay guys, we're going to check it during class, but please remember to answer these questions so we can share our answers. Great. Now let's go to page 53 on the student book, exercise B. We're going to complete the conversation with the verbs in parentheses. Sometimes there is more than one correct answer. For example, number 1 says, would the Selwyns have had the idea to sell their home, do you think, if Hannah the expensive car that day? In this case, we are imagining the past. So we're going to be using past perfect. Very good. If Hannah hadn't seen the expensive car that day. Maybe not. If the car in front of them. In this case, we continue imagining the past, so we're going to use past perfect. If the car hadn't stopped in front of them, please pause the video while you work on the rest. Okay, great. We're going to check this during our class. I will see you then. Bye bye.